Central Iowa as well. And I'm going to let you just talk about a little bit about you're the brainchild of this.
Well, actually, my wife Miyoko and I were kind of the spark to lit this fire, along with the late Dr. Richard Snyder, who was the director of the Iowa State Center back in 1978 when we first saw Pittsburgh Ballet Theater do this production. He was in charge of the center, and we met afterwards at his home. There was a cast party, and Richard and I were in the kitchen, just kind of hanging out and talking. And I was talking to him about how there are multiple Nutcrackers throughout the country. There was at that time something like 800 Nutcrackers throughout the country. It's a very good ballet for a community. You can use a lot of different characters, people from parents and grandparents to children to professional dancers. It encompasses all the things. Plus, it takes from the holiday and the spirit of Christmas, and it's become a national ballet at this time of year for the United States. The other countries, France and Russia, actually do Nutcracker the summertime, doesn't matter. But back in the 1950s, when Ed Sullivan had the New York City Ballet do the Nutcracker on the Ed Sullivan Show, it sort of took off as a holiday event. So anyway, we were talking and we were going back and forth about, because the Pittsburgh Ballet Theater had been here that day, and we just come from their show and had done very, very well, and the houses almost sold out. And Richard and I were talking, we said, we could probably do something like that here in Ames, but most people don't, really know what the Nutcracker is. It's going to take us a while to pull this thing together if you're interested. And he was very excited about it. He had a long history with theater, dance, opera, and so forth, and he was very much in favor of something like this. The following Wednesday, I think it was, he sent me a formal letter invitation from the Iowa State Center to come in and meet with him and his staff and consider taking over the role of co-artistic director with my wife Miyoko. So we did that, and the rest is really history. Richard was a perfect producer. He ran around and gathered all the things we need. He found costumes. He brought together all the various artists, the set designer, the costume designer, the sound and technical directors. Actually, Steve Harder is still here. He was one of the other first ones involved in the very first production. You should interview him at some time. He's a major contributor to this production. And I would say Jake Ewald, who was the sound director at that time and still works with us. And I would get their input on the last 30 years of my life. That was the genesis of it, and it took off. Throughout the community has kind of embraced it. We can't take credit for nearly all that's been done with the Nutcracker. So many people have contributed so much. We're just kind of the spark, as I say, that initiated the original fire, and now we have our role as artistic directors, co-artistic directors. Miyoko and I were responsible for, maintaining the quality of artistic content, choreographing and filling in the roles, and utilizing the local talent. But we're very much one of the cogs in a large wheel anymore, and happy to be involved. Love to do it.
Well, it just wouldn't be Christmas around here if it wasn't for the Nutcracker. It really adds a lot of energy and vitality to Ames and to the center. I'm here in Steve Harder's office. He's the technical director at Iowa State Center, and he has been here since the first inaugural Nutcracker Ballet.
Afraid so, yeah.
Afraid so.
Help build a fair amount of it, yeah.
So we're in backstage in his office, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with Nutcracker Ballet, what you do backstage, and what have you seen throughout the years with this annual production?
Well, Nutcracker started with Dick Snyder, who was the first director of the center, who at that time was a bit of an impresario, liked to do productions, and was also quite interested in dance, and felt like there was a need for a local production of some kind. Blessed us with the idea that we should do a local Nutcracker. And so for most of us it was a matter of putting together and constructing the ideas that a scenic artist that was a member of the theater department here and also worked in Colorado put together. So he put together the large scenic elements, a number of which are still on the show now. He very carefully folded up every year and put it away like most people do their old Christmas decorations and hope that it's still in one piece when we get it out the next year. And so getting it off the ground the first couple of years was challenging. I think the third year, public television broadcast it live, which was a mess, with a live orchestra and all that kind of stuff. It's much easier now when the music is, you know, on the CD as it were here. The primary challenge for me every year is putting together and bringing back the crew, the actual stage crew that ran the show the previous year. Every year we're putting 2, 3, 4 new people into the show, onto the stage crew. We work very hard at documenting this. I mean, we have 3-ring binders and 3-ring binders full of plans and notes and other things, but to be honest, there's still a lot of folklore involved in this every year. There's always some detail we're trying to remember, that somebody who left us the previous year and isn't back was the only one that ever knew exactly how that worked. So occasionally we're calling people up on the cell phone and say, hey, you remember whatever a year ago? So not any one of us has a piece of has the full picture of this. I certainly don't claim to in that sense. But it's fun. It's a tradition for the stage crew and for backstage just as much as it is for the dancers. And in many ways it hasn't changed as much for us as it does, of course, for Bob and for the dancers and everything, because you put new faces out there on stage when the chemistry changes that way.